Greetings, peace if you can find it. Thanks for tuning in and listening. To those who remember Fannie Lou Hamer, she was a strong American African activist in Mississippi. And she had a saying that she had a shotgun in every corner of her little cabin. And if any European American citizen bust through her door, he would not write home to his mother again. She spoke up against the cruelty and the hunger and the mistreatment of Africans in Mississippi in the early 60s, 64, 65. This was the time where African black soldiers were going to Vietnam War and coming home and not having a decent place to sleep. And some were even hanged with the uniform on. To those who say there is no racism in America, Jesse Lee Peterson, Candace Owens, and others, just the other day, June 17th, Donte Perez Jones found hanging in Pennsylvania Park on Juneteenth. They showed the video of his family wandering around aimlessly, trying to investigate because the authorities automatically said it was suicide. Black people don't hang themselves on trees with their feet touching the ground. On June 17, around 7 a.m., Donte Perez Jones, a black Army veteran and father of three, was found hanging in a Pennsylvania park, and his death was ruled a suicide. However, family and friends suspect he was murdered, since the fact and evidence do not add up with the ruling. They came to the conclusion that it was a suicide. The mother is in shock. She's in shock. She's trying to investigate her son's murder. The Woodbine Police Department in Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, informed Latina Dean, Jones' mother, that he had committed suicide and that the case was closed. How can you close a case and there's no autopsy? Even with accidents and suicides, there have to be an autopsy to rule out foul play. It's one thing for your child to leave this hemisphere, but for them to be missing and accused of hanging themselves when you know your child has no indication in his being of committing suicide. And this was behind a police station. Later on, they had an event in this park, which they allowed to happen, which erased all evidence. If someone, they say, committed suicide in a park, would you not close it down, put the yellow tape around, and investigate and look for evidence, clues? On June 16, around 11:40 p.m., Jones was last seen visiting his mother. He lived in Delaware County, an hour from Blue Bell, where his body was found. According to his mother, Donte has no ties to Blue Bell. At about 9:30 a.m. the next day, Dean was notified about her son's death by Sharon Hill police. However, the death did not stop officers from opening the park, as they removed his body and had the park open for a 10 a.m. event. Call the FBI. Local authorities cannot solve this. They have already ruled it a suicide without an autopsy. When asked to view the body to determine if that was her son, Dean's request was denied. How can you deny a family from identifying their loved one? As the Whit-Payne detectives closed the case and ruled Jones' death a suicide. However, she stated that this case should be treated as a murder and cover up. Not convinced that her son had taken his life, Dean requested an autopsy. When do they not do an autopsy if there's a suspicion of suicide? You still have to have an autopsy to rule out foul play. And if I was the mother, I would not allow them to do an autopsy. For one thing, they never returned the organs. You can't trust them. They wouldn't let you see the body. No autopsy. The coroner's office declined since it was ruled a suicide. To those who say that there is no racism in America, they're still hanging African black men. They have done it in the past with their uniforms on. So, I'm going to end. Thanks for tuning in and listening. You be the judge and decide if there's racism in the USA or not. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Peace if you can find it.